Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the farm. We're outside where it's nice and hot. But I wanted to show you something, what we've got going today. If you could look behind me, right there at the very top, it's elderberry. This is the elderberry patch that I've had for years here. But let me turn you around so you can see it. Hold on. Let me zoom in just a little bit on some of them. There we are. They're nice and purple and definitely tall. So those are the ones that I have not been able to get to. Got to climb through the jungle there. We've got most of them that are down below, but we're going into the kitchen and we're going to make up some wonderful elderberry syrup. This will be great for the winter time whenever flu and cold come along, but also let's go in the garden and we'll show you what else we're adding to it. We'll go to the garden. Here we go. Okay, friends, we're now in the garden. If you can see, that's my trombonzino. But anyways, that's not what I'm here to show you. Let me show you what I've got going down here that we're going to mix in the elderberries. This is called mullein. Can you see it? It's very, very interesting plant. It's very fuzzy, very soft. They used to call this the toilet paper plant. But this is the one that's got the super stalk on it, all the way up. But the one down here is the one that we're going to be harvesting. We're only going to harvest a few of those leaves. Let me show you what else we've got. We're going to add to the mix. Let me move over this way. Now see here, we've got something that's very beautiful. This is oregano. Oregano smells so good. This is what you put in your pizza, your sauces, your special spice dishes. But this oregano has properties that you will really enjoy putting in this elderberry syrup. Okay, let's go to another one. Hold on. Here we have peppermint. Peppermint is so good for cold and flu season. This is another mixture that we're going to put in there, and we'll talk about what peppermint can do for you. Okay, let's go to the next one. Well, friends, we're back in the kitchen. The last one that I was trying to search for in the garden was stinging nettle. It has dried up this summer. But anyways, look it up online and look what the leaves look like. There's a ton of them in the springtime. It's very good for you. Let me go ahead and let's continue with this recipe. Let me get things together and we'll get to the stove and we'll show you how to cook up this elderberry syrup. Okay, this is the first thing we need to do. This is how I have my elderberries. I froze my elderberries. All we're going to do is take our frozen elderberries, put them in the pan. And the reason I freeze them, it helps them to release their juices better. That's really with any berry. Elderberry is a berry, so it kind of breaks down the outer skin and it helps them to break down and release their juices better in the pan. Okay, I'm going to get this onto medium. Now I'm going to add distilled water. I don't recommend doing faucet water. It has bleach in it. I don't recommend even spring water. Use distilled water. It has no bacteria, no flavor, no chemicals, nothing in it. And that was about a gallon-sized bag of elderberries. I didn't really measure the cups, but what we're going to do, they're down, probably about a fourth of the way in the pan. Let me see if I can get you to see that just a little bit better. See the elderberries? Now we're just going to cover the elderberries. I covered about maybe an inch or two over. I think I'll add just a little bit more. That'll make it 2 inches over. Now our next ingredient. Remember what we looked in the garden? This is peppermint. It smells so good. Now each one of these, we'll sit down here in a little bit, we'll discuss what the benefits are to adding this to the elderberry. So we're going to do about 2 cups. And this is really like a tea. I need to make smell-o-vision. Okay, this one's the nettle leaf. And I encourage you to look it up, what it's good for. But we'll talk about it here in a minute. I'm going to add 2 cups of that. And it doesn't really have a smell that's floral. It smells like hay or grass. And our other ingredient, oregano. I'm going to do 2 cups. Let me grab the mullein. Okay, had this on my dehydrator. Dehydrated some of the leaves. I just did about, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bitty leaves. Didn't really measure, but they're dried. They're still very soft, like a little lamb's ear. But all we're going to do is make a mess. Get this in there. Get it stirred around. And let me tell you, the peppermint, if you know, like your cough drops that you buy at the store, they've got menthol. That's what peppermint has in it, is the menthol. The benefits of it, if you've ever smelled, you ever took like a leaf, rubbed it in your hand, and then smelled it, and you just sniffed it in, it just helps you to focus. It makes you feel good. It kind of uplifts. That's what peppermint does. So when you're sick and not feeling good, you need that uplift. The menthol kind of helps you breathe a little bit better, and you need that mental clarity to be able to focus on getting better. But the elderberries, that's the main ingredients. If you've not looked into elderberries, they're very helpful. They help fight infections. They're high in vitamin C. And that's probably why they're very good at helping fight infections. But they're also good for headaches. I didn't even realize that until I looked it up. It's great for headaches. And when we have the cold and flu, what do we usually have? Is headaches. Also helps for fever. I've not felt that it helps for fever for me, but it does say in the herbal books that it does help for fever. And I'm sure that is because of the vitamin C helping them bring the infection down. But nettle, a lot of people don't even know what nettle is. It's a weed out in the yard. It's great. It's high in minerals. Some cook it up during the springtime like spinach. It's great just to eat like a green. Now, if you've ever picked nettle, wear gloves, because on the underneath of the leaves, they got these little spikies, and if you do rub up against them, it will sting. That's why they're called stinging nettles. And the sting kind of is like a bee sting, or like you got into poison ivy and you start itchy and sting. Never had poison ivy, but I know when people say that it does sting. Well, it lasts for about 30 minutes to an hour, even after you wash it. But they say that sting is supposed to help your arthritis. I did not feel that. All I know, it was stinging. Maybe it was a distraction from that. Anyways, that's what the books say. But anyways, yeah, they're high in minerals. They're also great for respiratory. That's why we've got them in here. Great for supporting the respiratory. And then oregano. If you've ever heard oregano oil, that's something that is great for antibacterial, antiviral. It's great for that. And it's great for the respiratory system. So that's why we've added that. So basically, we're making a tea cough syrup. Now the mullein is wonderful. It is like natural mucinex. It helps to break up that cough, the phlegm. It helps the lungs, kind of helps you to cough it up, because you need that stuff to come up out of your lungs, and kind of the mucinex stuff come out of your throat. You need to cough that up. That's what the mullein does. So that's why we've got all this special mix all together. Now, we're going to have to steep for about an hour. I'm going to bring it up to a slight boil and just let it simmer for an hour. Make sure you put your lid on it, because once the steam starts coming off that elderberry, if anybody's ever done elderberry, you will have a purple kitchen, because the steam will let off purple dye. If you're working with it with your hands, you will have purple hands. It does come off, but I'm just warning you, if you don't want a purple stove, purple vent hood, put a lid on it and let it simmer for an hour. Whenever it does simmer for an hour, we're going to come back and we're going to show you how to be able to store it. Some like to store it in the refrigerator. I'm going to help you be able to store it on your shelf. That way you can have it all winter long, and then we'll talk about how to take it. But let me tell you, this is a disclaimer. I'm not an herbalist. I'm not a doctor. I want you to make your own mix that is good for you. This is what we use for our family. But make sure you read. I believe pregnant women are not supposed to take any of these ingredients according to the books. But anyways, ask your physician before you take any of these. Anybody that's on any special medications, make sure you talk to your doctor. I find that even calling the pharmacist is the best. I've done that for my husband many a times, and when I introduce a new herb to him, I'll call the pharmacist and I'll ask, will this herb counteract any medicines that you have on file? They will look it up and tell you immediately. Sometimes the doctors, you got to wait. You got to ask for the nurses. So sometimes I go straight to the pharmacy because they have all that information right at hand. But anyways, we'll let this simmer for an hour, and then we'll come back, and then we'll show you how to jar it up in jars, and you can put it on your shelf. And then we'll show you how you can take it. Be right back. Okay, friends, we're back here, and it's starting to steam. We've been at about 15 minutes, but I wanted to let you know we got our jars out. These are just small jars. These are half pints. Yes, 12 half pints. You can get them in the jelly jar size or brand. These are the ball canning ones. You can get them in their just the Walmart brand for jelly jars. But all we're going to do, we're going to put the oven on to 200 degrees 15 minutes before our elderberry syrup is done. And then we're going to take our lids and put them in hot water. Doesn't have to be boiling water. Just get the water out of your faucet. That's the hottest. But we'll go ahead and let those stay in there. And what that does is there's a rubber seal around here. It warms them up, kind of softens them, because this, you don't have to can in a canner. This is called open can. So what it does is when you heat up your jars in the oven, they're sterilizing them. They're preparing the jar itself to accept hot liquid, because If you put a cold jar, add hot liquid to it, it has a possibility of cracking. So not only it sterilizes it, but it prepares them. But make sure you wear mittens when you pull them out of the oven, because you're going to pull one at a time out. Then we're going to fill them up with the elderberry syrup. Then we put the lid on it. Then we put the rings around it, and we're going to put them on tight. So that way it'll form a seal, and they will cool off. And the next day you'll just store them in your pantry. You don't have to store them in the fridge. Now, once you open them and you start using them, you'll store that one in the fridge. But anyways, just a little bit of note. We still got about another 45 minutes to go. It's just now starting to steam and get warm. We'll be right back whenever it's halfway. See you in a minute. Okay, friends, it's been 30 minutes now. So what I'm doing is just taking a potato masher, and I'm going in and kind of mashing up those berries. As you can tell, I've got a good boil on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so it does just a simmer. But what this does, it just breaks up pops those berries, gets all the good elderberries out. Because after we're done, we're going to strain it so we have our clear liquid. Then after we do this, we'll let it steep for another 30 minutes, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, now we're back. We're going to start straining. I just do double layer paper towels, put it down in my colander, down in the bowl, another pan or a heat safe bowl. Give them a little chip clips, hold the paper towels down. Start ladling it in the pan. I got my oven on at 200. So we're going to go ahead and stick our jars in the oven, start warming up. I did go ahead and add that entire gallon of distilled water, because really with the tea and the elderberries, it took up a lot of room. So I went ahead, since I had a gallon of elderberries, went ahead and used a gallon of the distilled water. But whenever I did cover them for the 2 inches, it did get them to simmering a little warmer. And then as it warmed up, I added a little bit more. As it warmed up, I added a little bit more until I got to the point where it was boiling. And then I turned it down and let it simmer for another 30 minutes. Okay, let me finish this and we'll be right back and I'll show you a little bit more. Okay, friends, we're back. Got it in a separate pan, got it into a small boil. You want to make sure this is well heated. Our jars are heated. They're close to the same temperature. And let me show you how we jar it up. Make sure you get your mittens on. Do 1 jar at a time. Make sure you hold on to your jar. Let's do this a little simpler. Let's just put the canning funnel on. Just less messy sometimes. But let me show you how far we need to go up. Go up to that last ring, which is about a 1/2 inch. Sure, you'll be able to see that. And then take your paper towel and just wipe off the top. You're basically drying it off. Put your warm lid on top. And your ring that goes on top of that. Put your mittens on because it's hot. And put your lid on good. And we're going to towel real quick. Okay, back to the mittens. You will not forget your mittens once you touch that jar. Got your lid on tight. We're going to turn it upside down. What that does when you turn it upside down, it's going to heat that seal up that's on your ring on your lid. And then once you turn it up in about 15-30 minutes, you'll hear it pop. It may have already popped in the very beginning, but since your jars are hot, your liquid's hot, and it's warming up your seal, and then you turn it over, it sucks all that oxygen out of that jar. It is sealed and it's okay, let me spit it out. Shelf stable. But anyways, continue the same on each jar until you fill them up. Don't let your liquid get too cool. Make sure you get it to kind of a little bit of a steam or a rolling boil as you're putting it in, because that's the temperature. You need both of them hot, and that makes it seal really good and makes it shelf stable. Let me finish and we'll be back. Okay, we're wrapping it up here. We've got a few more left. And yes, I'm making a mess. Put the lid on. Put the ring on. Get it started. And the mittens. Upside down. Last one. Almost a little bit more. Wipe the rim off. I always want to make sure you get any debris off when you are canning, because it doesn't make it seal properly if you don't. So get your ring lid and then ring on. Okay, that's our 12 jars. I have a little bit left over. I'll go ahead and put this in a jar and just keep it in the fridge. I probably could have bought some more of the jars. And yes, it makes a purple mess, but it cleans up okay. So it's not a permanent stain, so don't worry about that. Now, if you're worried about your clothing, I would put something on that you're not going to worry about. I forgot to put a covering over me. But anyways, friends, that's it. That's how you make elderberry. I'm going to get you straight up here so you can see me. That's how you make the elderberry juice. It's really more of a juice, a tea, instead of a syrup. Because if you notice, I didn't put any sweetener in that. And the reason is because if you add sweetener in it now, even at the warm stage, or if you would have boiled it, it would have ruined probably some of it, because sometimes that honey, well, it would have ruined the natural properties of the raw honey. It would have made it really not raw anymore. You would have cooked the honey. Some people add maple syrup. Some people just add the regular sugar. I don't add any because it could possibly introduce a bacteria. So what we did when we sterilized the juice, we sterilized the jars, we sterilized the lids, and everything went in there hot. And then it'll seal, so no bacteria will be in there. It is a high acid because of the vitamin C, but if you add other things like the honey and the syrup, it could bring the acid back down, so it could make it possible to have a bacteria in it. So that's why I don't can it with any type of sugars. Now, once you open up a jar and you need to start using it, say for example, I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat and I thought, well, I don't feel too great, might possibly come down with something. It could be allergies even. That will help. But once you open it, say, well, for me, I take a tablespoon 3 times a day. That one little jar, I'll keep it in the fridge, will last me a week. I possibly could have a cold. I possibly could not have a cold. But once you finish it your week, you don't really want to continue it unless you are really sick, you're coughing, and you had a fever. You can continue another jar for another week. I have. Elderberries you don't want to take on a daily basis. It doesn't necessarily build your immunity because it is like a natural antiviral, antibacterial properties in it, and so do the herbs that we put in there. So I would not recommend, and I don't think any of the herbalist books recommend to take it on a daily basis. It's only taken whenever you're not feeling well. But hopefully you learned a little bit about this. Just make sure you can put this on your shelf. Make sure you date the lids, the day you made it and the year, so that you know when you've processed it and put it in your pantry. Now check to make sure your doctor or your pharmacist for you or your children to make sure it's safe for you to take it. Like I said, I'm not a doctor and I'm not an herbalist, but I've been making this for my family for years. But it's almost like a cough medicine. So it may not taste good. Cough medicines don't taste good. It tastes okay to me, but I usually add it to a warm juice. You can add it to like warm apple juice in the wintertime to kind of make it a good flavor. You can just make your normal tea, like a hot tea. You can add it to a cold tea. Sometimes the flavor is not pleasant, but it does definitely help. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave a comment down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get to my next video, and whenever it pops up, you'll be able to see what we've got going next. Anyways, appreciate you being here, and spread the word. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.